All right, so let's dig into the types of applications that we all deal with together.
Okay.
And where cartridge filters being the primary thing that we're going to be discussing today. We're going to discuss some of the big stars over there today too. But so applications that cartridge filters are typically used in, I can think of several. Powder coating, obvious.
Yep.
Sanding rooms and sanding machines, which you and I have dealt with recently. Blast booths. What else, guys? Welding, plasma tables, welding, grinding.
Yep.
What else do we got?
Those are the main ones.
And then I guess you would call it general air cleaning, like where you have like a plant that has a lot of these different processes in it.
Right.
You have
especially if they're moving around.
You have a lot of smoke.
Yep.
A lot of garbage in the air. You know, smog, if you want to call it. You have the plant actually has a system outside with cartridge filters and all kinds of higher level filtration. And a lot of times they'll have banks of filters that the air is moving through. And some of those sacrificial layers they change out regularly to keep the HEPAs doing what they need to do. And then that air is pulled out of the plant and put right back into the plant so as to not create it's not a positive or a negative impact. It's supposed to be just a neutral, just keep the air moving, but cleans the air to keep those operators healthy. There are things that we will talk about with like cartridge filters, the different medias involved, but we did talk about thermal event earlier. And when you're evaluating especially items like plasma tables, smog hogs, dust hogs, or what are any other names for those?
I mean, could be FAR, could be wheelabrator, we're talking about sanding or blasting.
So anything where you have a potential of casting a spark,
yes,
or an ember,
yep,
you got to be really careful when specifying your filters. And we can talk about FR or fire retardant media,
yep,
but you do not want one of these thermal events in your plant,
no,
especially in a machine that's expensive.
And it's a good idea to keep your ducts clean.
Yes.
If you're collecting a flammable dust, you hope that the system was designed properly, and oftentimes the system was designed properly, but over time there's been added ducts, added drops, new equipment coming in, and every time there's an added drop, then your velocity is dropping because you're having to spread that load out. And the more you spread that load out, the more dropout you get in your duct, especially around
the airflow drops.
Exactly. So what happens is dust starts to drop out inside the duct. Well, if that dust is flammable and you get a spark in there, I mean, you're pulling air, right, which is fuel to the fire.
Especially if you have something, if you got aluminum involved anywhere.
Oh yeah.
And you get that aluminum dust. Yeah. Now you're talking massive explosion.
Yeah, and there's a lot that can be done.
Okay.
We could go on and on about, but definitely, certainly the filters are we want to make sure that we're using the proper filter, and there's a lot of customers that you're going to see out there who are not using the right filter.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we really bring a lot to Air Power is just support.
That's right.
And saying,
helping.
Yeah, being accessible to your salespeople, and having the ability to do. We do this a lot with your salespeople. We'll have a 3-way phone call, or we'll go through the system with the customer and diagnose.